Hi everybody, we're back with our daisy painting and now we're going to talk about masking fluid. So here's your typical masking fluid, about $25 a bottle. It lasts me a long time. It says art masking fluid. Be very careful that you don't buy the permanent. Now I put it in the lid and set my bottle aside so that I have quick access. Now, what is the reason for using masking fluid? We're going to put it on our paper on our daisy. After it's dry, we can paint right over top of it, and then when the surface of the paper is dry, we'll peel it off, and then we'll have white left. It's a good way of preserving your white of your paper, not having to paint around your subject. You can just do your wash over top. Now, this is basically kind of like the old version of rubber cement. So this is just a typical little bar soap. No lotion in the bar soap, just a typical bar soap. And I'm taking my brush and I'm filling my brush with soap because this is glue and my brush will be ruined. So once I have soap on my brush, I can start filling this in. And I'm going to fill in the whole thing. And I'm going to be generous with how much I use because the thicker it is, the easier it will be to peel off. Now, I use a nice round brush and I'm pointing my brush towards the outside edge of the petals because I can get a nice shape, almost like a folk art brush stroke. And I'm just going to fill this in and be very generous. It does not take a long time to do this. We're going to fill it all in. Then we'll take a pause and just dry that. Now, if you had an idea that you might want some sparkle of white in the background, like maybe a little bit of baby's breath or something else you want to preserve the white paper of, you want to do that at this point. Now, usually I can get away with doing this without re-soaping my brush, but to be sure that I'm not going to get any glue stuck in the hairs of my brush, I'm going to re-soap. And be very generous when you're piling this on. You can let it dry naturally or you can dry it with a hair dryer. Also, the other trick to this is you must be very careful about where you put this, because wherever you put it, it will be a permanent white area. So I'm extending my stems down. Now, in the picture, there are some leaves. And I haven't drawn them, but I can put them in quickly with this brush. They're long and narrow, so I would start and drag my brush. And as I'm dragging it, I'm turning it to the tip. So I start with it flat and then drag it up. Let's move my hand so you can see what I'm doing here. So down hard, and as you're lifting up to the tip of your brush. This is the support for all my wonderful flowers. Now I'm going to double check to make sure that all the areas I want covered are covered. I'm going to make sure that I've got it thick enough. Oh, look, I missed a spot. So we need to fill that in. Always good to double check that the masking fluid is also right up to the edge of your graphite image that you traced. When you pull this off, most of the design is going to come off. So if I had a bunch of pencil in there, it's going to pull that off anyways. So yeah, it's a good thing I didn't bother doing it. Okay, double checking. Looks like all my edges are Good. Got a little leaves here. Got some taller leaves. Little bit of no bubbles anywhere, so that's good. So rinse your brush right away. And the other thing you need to do is to get rid of this water, because you might have floating masking fluid in there, and it's going to get on your brush if you don't have wax in your brush. Now I put this back in my bottle, and it's very important to dry the lid, because this is glue, and it will glue that lid right on. It used to be horrible when the bottles were glass, but now they're plastic, not so bad. Seal it up nice and tight, and don't ever shake masking fluid, only stir. You don't want to get a whole bunch of bubbles in there. So that's your tutorial on masking. Let's let that dry, and then we'll come back and do a dark background and lift the masking fluid off. See you on the next video.